Hi.
How's it going? How's it going?
How are you?
I'm good. Y'all closing some arches?
Double today.
Something like that.
Kind of trying. We're trying to sell them anyways.
Possibly not doing the impressions that same day. Just doing
I'm just going to give everybody a minute to log on here.
For patient.
for those. This one is hard bruised.
I don't know if I like this. I mean, 2 or 3 of them that. Right.
It's a really awesome video to go through today. Really good one, actually. Becky did it from Dr. Kamel's office. What she did in the first 10 things really, really, really well. So I'm excited to show this one.
I've recorded 2 videos, but
Anybody have any good closes that you want to share or anything that may have stumped you while waiting for everybody to log on? Anyone have anything good?
Basically, like, so go straight to the point and say, first video.
This is training. Closing.
So for just starting, here at Tri-Cities Periodontics and Implants, we've already closed about 2 cases, and it's just been you within like the last 3 weeks.
Nice.
And I mean, I've been a dental assistant for the last 14 years, so this is all new to me. So it's a totally different, compared to being an assistant to basically selling a treatment plan. It's a little different and it's new, but we've already got 3 rescheduled so far. So it's kind of exciting with it being so new to us. So
That was so annoying.
Nice. So you feel like a shark right now instead of an assistant? Good
right.
closer?
Yes, but I do miss the assisting part, but yes, I'm excited for this new opportunity and just like learning something new.
Awesome. Well, it's always nice to get off to a good start. The more that you use it, the more consultations, more reps you get, the more comfortable it's going to be. The most important thing is just start putting the process in place and just start using it.
Can you see us?
I can see you.
Can you hear us?
On the call too.
I can hear you. I can hear you. I can see you. We got a bunch of people logged in, so I'm just letting everybody get in.
Yeah, I can call later.
A lot of people with the cameras off. If you guys have cameras, I know some of you do, some of you don't, but if you have cameras, turn the camera on so I can see all those faces, all my closers. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get started here because we got a bunch of stuff to cover today. We've got a really good video. I'm going to play it from Becky from Dr. Kamel's office. And it's actually a situation where the patient had brought her husband, and her husband ended up turning to be a candidate as well. And she just did so many good things, so many things right. I really wanted to highlight this one and kind of go through it with you guys. Okay, so if you're not muted, go ahead and mute. And then remember, just any questions you guys have, just type them into the chat. I got the chat sitting over here so I can get to them. All right. I'll start the video. And turn your volume up here, guys, so you can hear the audio. Okay. We go.
All right, great. So again, my name is Becky. I'm a treatment coordinator. My
Something that was
whole
under,
job here is to
I can
get
show
you
you.
guys a treatment plan that works for you. Okay, so because we do a lot of different things, but it needs to work for you guys. So in order. Life, what are the struggles? Then I need to know, what's your outcome? What are you hoping to do with everything, and how do you want that to look and feel? So tell me, well, I just do both here, but tell me, Lori, start with what's going on.
I just want to feel more comfortable with my smile.
Okay.
I mean, I've never had nice looking teeth.
Okay.
I did the Invisalign.
Okay.
And it didn't do anything. And I have no back teeth. I've only got 10 up front and 10 on the bottom.
Oh no. Okay. That's gonna be hard to eat.
Well,
Yeah. Oh, I know.
we all manage.
But you know what's really interesting, because you can't crunch anything.
Right.
So, it really does play into, they talk about when people lose their back teeth, like higher rates of diabetes and all of that, because you have to eat soft foods.
Yeah.
And soft foods are always carbohydrate rich, sugar, all of that stuff. So, okay, no back molars. How long has that been going on?
Did you guys see what she just did right there? Right? So first off, she stated her intention, did great, got right into it, right? In the first 30 seconds, she's into the call, she's on the script. And when the patient started describing the pain points, Becky offered some insight, some further context into how it feels and what happens in that situation. That is exactly how you get into rapport really quick with somebody. Right, is letting them know that you understand where they are and how they feel, and any type of context that you can add, it just makes them feel like, oh geez, this person knows exactly where I am, right? And also keep your eye on just the body language and the tonality shifts that she's using here.
This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna screen record my phone.
Years. Oh my gosh. Okay. So. Yeah, how is that? Can you chew anything, or are you chewing it all in front?
I'm chewing it all
On
right
your
here.
side. Okay.
Yep.
That makes it hard to have to think about it.
Yep.
Have you lost any teeth because of having to chew more on one side or in one area?
No, well, I've
All I have left.
cavities, but I haven't had one pulled yet.
Yeah.
But I've got a lot of fillings.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And
They're
it
not-
gets hard when you.
Yeah.
So it sounds mostly like you kind of got used to the unfortunate eating issue, but that mainly just the smile and wanting to feel comfortable and be able to smile. Are you doing things like hiding your smile or anything like that?
All the time. I never open my mouth.
Fun. Oh my gosh.
He likes it. Don't open
Well,
my mouth.
that's not a positive. Come on. Oh, but I mean, again, you guys seem you're traveling, you're doing that. I mean, that's gonna be hard in pictures and things. I mean, do you just hide?
Exactly. I never open up for pictures.
Oh, but it would seem so hard because you seem like a super jovial, like fun, like
Try to be.
that's gotta be. How long have you not been smiling? Just since
All my life.
forever? Oh my
All my
gosh. Oh, well, we got.
You see how she's not minimizing it here, guys? She's acting like this is bad. You know what I mean? She's acting a bit surprised. This is something that I see on some of the videos where you hear it all day long, right? You guys are always hearing this kind of thing. So it's nothing out of the ordinary for you, but it is out of the ordinary, right? To not be able to smile for your whole life is what she just said, or for 10 years or 15 years. That's a big deal. You don't want to minimize it, right? It's like, oh my God, 15 years? Are you serious? Oh, that's terrible. Okay. All right. Got it. Just make sure that they see that there's some kind of a reaction there. It just helps kind of build their urgency and helps them understand that they're not in a normal situation, right? This is not a situation that we can let continue for a long period of time. This is something that needs to be taken care of now. And if you guys, the ones that see and hear this stuff every day, if you're surprised by it and you're concerned, they're going to be very concerned about it, which is
Yeah, that's good. Let me type this right here.
Can't hear anything. Can't hear anything.
Art, you're on mute.
Bart?
Art, you're on mute.
So now my husband and I have it, it's now an award. So for when you do something stupid, you get the yellow shoes, like congratulations.
Sorry, guys, I'm gonna back it up because I was muted. I didn't know the video was muted when I was muted. Sorry about that. Just trying to cut down on some of the background noise. Sorry about that, guys.
I'm up for pictures.
Oh, but it would seem so hard because you seem like a super jovial, like fun, loving person.
Try to be.
That's gotta be, so how long have you not been smiling? Just since
All my life.
forever? Oh my
All my
gosh. Oh, well, we gotta change that.
Yeah.
That's, she's gonna win per single tomorrow. I know it. And so we gotta get this show on the road. She's gonna be winning. We need her, yeah, we need her smiling and showing up the thing. Okay.
Back on online.
Yeah, and sell it. Oh my gosh. Do you know what I did the other day? This is a total aside. There's this type of shoe that I like, and they're like super comfortable flats because you get to a certain age and I'm like, I'm not wearing heels anymore.
Yep.
So I go and it was like a third of the price of whatever stuff. I was like, I got this great deal, great deal. She sends the thing, it's one shoe. I didn't read the description, it was one shoe. I thought, are you kidding me?
Wow.
And then of course I went and I felt like an idiot because I was like, oh, it says it right there. But I'm like, who sends one shoe? I mean, this is like the worst thing. I know. I was like, oh, that's it, I'm done with eBay.
Look, Becky's only 3 minutes and 47 seconds into the call right now. She's gotten a really good idea of their current state, gauge their urgency level, continuing to build rapport. But again, she's only 3 minutes and 47 seconds into it. So if you guys can get into the call right off the bat, you're going to be surprised where you can be after 10 minutes if you get straight to it.
I can't buy or sell anything.
I know, there was just a big thing on Good Morning America about scams.
Oh, well, this is the beauty of it. She said it right in the thing. I'm just the idiot that didn't read it. I thought, oh my gosh. So now my husband and I have it. It's now an award. So for when you do something stupid, you get the yellow shoe. Like, congratulations, honey. Here you go. You earned the yellow shoe today. Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh,
Anyway, well, yes. So she can put the purse back on. But we gotta get you smiling. Okay.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel to hear her say that? I mean,
Well, I know because we have a monument company, so we do a lot
Oh,
of
my
cemetery
goodness.
cares, so a lot of it
Oh.
is public.
That's a perfect time, right? Where you always want to make sure if there's a third party in the room, right when you get done with the overview on the current state, right? You've asked them what's going on and got all their pain points and how it's affecting them on a day-to-day level. That's when you guys want to address the third party in the room to figure out, is this person an asset or a liability, right? Do I have somebody on my team or somebody that's working with me or against me here, right? So that's the point in time where you always want to ask them, have you noticed what it is that she's saying, or sometimes you see things differently, or have you noticed a change in terms of how she smiles or anything like that? You want to engage them at this level and make sure you engage them in terms of the quality of life and the symptoms long before any type of a treatment or a procedure is discussed. Okay, so it's a perfect time to engage a third party. So Becky did an awesome job with that.
So I end up doing all the talking.
and sales, I mean, yeah, you gotta have
So,
okay. And you tell me, so what's going on with your teeth?
well, the tops are pretty much gone.
Okay.
And
How-
then my back, they're all
Oh.
swelled up,
Okay.
but then I fell down, so this is a permanent
Oh, no.
partial. So
Okay.
that kind of irritated everything, so that's gotta come off.
Sure.
Well, then you're thinking, he only offers dentures,
Okay.
and we all know that. not a long-term thing, so all you're doing is pouring money on something that you're going,
Exactly.
I mean, for generations, it's been, oh, they don't fit, I gotta go back, they're loose.
Yeah.
So you're going, better way than that.
Absolutely. And you're so right. It is throwing good money after bad. What happens when we extract teeth is we lose bone. It's just like, a root or a tree in, the soil. When you take it out, there's a reason they tell you to cut it up. Because the bone goes away.
Well, that was last fall. He took out the bottom floor, had the partials ready, had some partials to the top. They felt like crap.
Yeah.
And then after it fell down in November, it's like this moved.
Do you guys see how she's engaging with both of them at the same time here? You know what I mean? It takes a lot of energy to do this, but she's doing a really good job of engaging with both patients right here. And now they're basically both candidates. So it sounded like they came in together and they're both looking for a solution. So she's got 4 arches sitting in front of her right now. So she's doing a really, really, really good job. And just keep an eye on the tonality. That's the biggest thing. You know what I mean? Between influencing and talking is the tonality change and the change in your body language and your expression and genuinely like talking to them, providing context. She's just doing a really, really good job here assessing both parties and building rapport and just trying to determine urgency.
Because you broke your eye socket. So it just feel like something you wanted to put in all the time. You're going, this is bad. And then right after that, the molars irritated. So you're going like, how can I be there in the fall?
Yes.
And then here we are, still not even into this year very well. And you got all these teeth that gotta come out.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm not so concerned that we can get something going at the bottom. The teeth feel strong. I'm missing some molars in the back.
Yeah.
But the 4 up front definitely need to be something done.
Yeah.
And then the whole top bridge work.
Yeah.
Because I know once they take this out, that was 20 years ago, they replaced that after a car accident when I was 18. So you look at the money that's spent on that already, they're going to redo something there.
Exactly. That may not last for very long either. I mean, once you have that shifting going on and in a way, having the partial has been sort of a gift because because even having a removable partial, that's still 1,000 times better than full dentures. So you kind of get a preview of what it would be like. That at least has some anchoring and securing to the teeth. So
It just is like, just keep doing the wrong thing.
And you get tired.
Well,
and the money.
Fall, you're in the chair, you're thinking he was gonna pull 2 teeth here and there, so you're thinking 3 or 4. You leave, you got 7.
The best part about this is she's doing a really good job prompting them to continue speaking, right? She's more offering up comments to support their current position and allow them to further elaborate. And guys, that's what it's all about, right? The whole strategy for this entire sales process is to allow the patients to sell themselves, right? If they sell themselves, we don't have to. I don't have to tell them that they need to do something. If they talk enough about how bad it is, all of a sudden doing nothing doesn't make any sense. And it's not our idea pushing it on them. So when you have somebody going, you want to offer in comments, basically supporting their position and allow for further elaboration, right? To where we're agreeing, but we're almost just telling them, yeah, I see your point of view and offering up points, and they're just going to continue speaking. As long as they're speaking in that straight line towards the close, let them keep going, because the more times they say it, the higher the level of their escalation of commitment is going to be, right? They're saying, yeah, this is bad. Yeah, I don't want this. Yeah, I don't want that. Yeah, I don't want that. They're not going to go back at the end and say, hey, I want this. Does that make sense? And if they do, it's really easy to change the frame on it to where they're not going to be able to reconcile it.
I'm afraid, what the hell are you doing? I need a partial, and that never fit properly.
You can't eat with that either.
Well, then I told her, I think it's time to look at something more permanent.
He did a partial for me and it was like so big and bulky. I wore it home and I never put it in my mouth again. It was like a horse bridle. It was so huge and metal.
And they wear the teeth then. So it's like, you already have missing teeth and it's snugging on to the other ones and rocking and No, I know. Well, okay, sounds like we've had enough of current dental issues. You're tired of throwing good money after bad, wanting something, more permanent. You can't eat or smile. How's your chewing? Terrible, yeah, I know.
You're in the same boat, you're
I
up
know.
front,
I know.
and then, of course, you get just some amoxicillin to take the plate flare down.
Yes,
Well, then on March first, you get 2 more teeth pulled out while he
Yes.
thinks about what we're gonna do up front, because that's got an
Yeah.
infection.
yeah,
You're thinking, well, you're sitting here screwing around, I'm going to do something.
Exactly.
Start moving forward, because
absolutely,
we did talk with him today, and said, yeah, let's get the 2
Yeah.
molars done. 'cause
yeah.
we
Well,
got years on that, but
we'll talk about that, because you might not need to do that. Like, I mean, again, we do everything in one fell swoop. We'll talk more about
Yep.
that. But I mean, again, let's stop throwing good money after bad, okay? Okay, so thank you for kind of telling me what's going on right now.
When she said, let's stop throwing good money after bad, that's basically what the guy was saying the whole time. So again, she's just telling these people she sees exactly what they see. She knows where they are. And I think she's in fabulous rapport. And it's not that easy to get into rapport when you're dealing with 2 parties. The 2 parties seem to be very much so on the same page, dealing with some similar issues. But just a really great job. You can tell that she's on the script. We're still only 8 minutes into the video. So not even through the first 10. And obviously it's going to take longer because it's basically 2 consultations in one, right? She has to get the current state for both people right now before she gets a future state. So she's still really very, very much on time. This is kind of a 2-for-1 situation. But doing great. I hope you guys are just taking notes in terms of the body language, the tonality, and just the overall delivery to get people talking and opening up and to just continue to get them to sell themselves, really.
So tell me, in a perfect world, like what does the outcome look like for you? Where do you see yourself? What do you want? What are your must-haves?
well, good ribeye would be a start.
Wouldn't that be nice? I know.
When you gotta start shying away
I
from a
know.
ribeye and eat, like, you hit it right on the nose. You eat your pasta noodles or something softer,
Chicken.
some
I
chicken.
know. And you're leaving things on your plate because you have to go slow.
Oh,
I
yeah,
heard- I
oh,
talked to
yeah,
a woman
everybody's
yesterday.
all done before.
Exactly. And she's like, I have all this delicious food and everything like that, and I'm always taking things home or leaving it there because you have to eat slower than everybody
Yeah.
else. And yeah. So teeth that you can eat was a function, just
Oh,
being
yeah.
able to have what it was like when you had functional teeth where you're not
Yeah.
worrying about eating on one side or all of that.
Pain now, I mean, like now I come here at 2 o'clock, you gotta take some aspirin.
Oh,
Out
gosh.
of your amoxicillin, so it's now you can take
Yes.
your other aspirin. I
Oh,
didn't take any aspirin today, but when we got here,
yeah.
oh yeah, you could tell it was all pain.
Well, when you get that infection, yeah, and it
Mhm.
flares up. And the problem with taking, it helps briefly, but it's
Well,
systemic. I mean, you gotta deal with the source,
That was 10 days, well, that's gonna be done shortly.
Again, she just continues to relate, right? She's just adding supportive content to everything that they're saying. So he's like, yeah, that's right. That's getting into rapport, guys. It's just creating a feeling of commonality, and commonality is created by understanding where they are. So it's going great. She's just trying to get to the point where she's helping them create the vision now. Right now, we have to kind of get them off of the pain. We know where they are. We know their urgency is high. We've got to get them more into the future state now.
Still gotta go between now and March 1st.
until, yeah.
I think
with
about,
everything.
once you think the infection will come back, it's almost like, why are you giving me anything?
Anything to
You
like
know,
just,
so,
do something.
yeah, 'cause I was in there last Thursday. And all I really did is looked at everything again. And down the road, I go back home, I'm thinking, pain,
Mhm,
home,
Mhm,
do
mhm,
something,
mhm.
because it's like.
mhm. Who wants another watch visit where,
Yeah.
oh, thanks for
Yeah,
the
so
advice,
out the
yeah.
door you go again, and you're thinking,
Yeah.
that's the dumbest damn thing I've
Yeah.
ever heard of,
Yeah.
so.
Well, it sounds like you guys are at the right point. I mean, you've got to, obviously you've had what you've been struggling with, you've been doing it. So you guys have been dealing with this for a long time. So,
Yeah.
so what was the straw that broke the camel's back for you? Like, listen, it sounds to me like for you, it was this doctor just being like, we're just,
Well,
it's
he's just
Nickel and diming you.
yeah,
got no
Sure, you're
teeth
gonna,
left.
you're gonna have no teeth, you're gonna get a cheap set of dentures that you're gonna wear.
exactly. And then you're going to lose the bone and then
Does this sound familiar, guys? She's like following the script perfectly. right? There's no wonder why why Becky closes between 50 and 60 arches a month. Between 50 and 60 arches a month right here. You can see why. You know what I mean? But there's a process. She's hitting all of the anchors on the first 10 script, all of them. Just like it's going great.
I'll be a candidate for implants later,
Yeah,
so
so
you're
it's like-
good timing for you guys. Yeah,
That's just it. If you
Yeah.
still got some places where you could do something,
yeah, exactly.
where you keep fiddling around, they're all
Yeah.
gonna start rotting away, which works on your bone, you're gonna have nothing left.
Exactly.
I told her, I says, gee, this is not hard to figure out what's going on here. It's just a slow nickel and dime of
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I had 4 molars, when to crown them all, I said, no. Well, of those 4, 3 of them are gonna get pulled
You
within a
did.
year.
And you would have
within a year,
spent, $15,
$1,500
15,
Yeah.
15, absolutely.
Yeah. And
So,
I thought,
okay.
oh my God, this just goes on and on.
Yeah, well, in dentistry, that has been kind of the old school thought on things, is like, let's save the teeth at all costs.
Yeah.
And every day I talk to patients that are like, listen, I've been saving these things, I can't do anything else with them anymore, and I'm tired of spending all this money,
Yeah.
and I want a long-term solution.
She's getting up to 64, 65, coming around the corner, I'm 67, you go, well, we get something, maybe hold out for the next 20, 25 without always
Absolutely.
going back into the
Absolutely.
dentist to solve an issue.
Well, yeah, and you guys have your own business. I mean, at some point, you probably want to retire and do all of that stuff too. I mean, you get to a point where you're like, all right, let's do it while I'm still working and can pay for this, get this done, and then
Yeah.
be done.
Yes.
Like have a solution. Okay, so that helps. I mean, for you, I know it's 10 out of 10 aesthetics and function.
Yeah.
And for you, it's, basically function and it's long-term solution.
You see, Becky had that time clock going off in her head. You can see it started to get a little bit redundant where he's just continuing to talk about the current state. Sooner or later, you have to kind of cut it off. You have to transition because she has the data that she needs from them, right? He said it over and over. And the man obviously talks a lot more than the woman talks. So he's been going on and on. But once you have what you need, you got to cut it off and you got to transition, right? We have to get the other part of this. That's the part that everybody struggles with. Most of you guys do a really good job on getting the pain points and how it's affecting them. We kind of tend to struggle with the transition to creating the vision and making sure that the patient understands, right, that the vision is the most important thing, because although you're probably going to be a candidate for all different types of treatments, all those different treatments, they all have different outcomes. So it's not like, hey, you're only a candidate for one treatment. That's probably not going to be the case. You're probably going to have options from a clinical standpoint, but all of those options have a different outcome. So the most important thing for us to really pinpoint is what outcome is ideal for you. That's what I want to talk about right now. That way I can make sure we get a treatment that we're not giving you just because you're a candidate. We're going to give you a treatment because it's going to give you the outcome that you want the most. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Let's go and talk about this. Boom, boom, boom. But I want you guys to make sure they connect the dots there. It's a very, very, very important point that it doesn't matter what you're a candidate for. It doesn't matter. Most of these people, they're candidates for dentures. They're candidates for removables. They're candidates for fixed. They're a candidate if you want to put one implant for every tooth and crown them all. They're a candidate, right? Clinically, it can be done for most of them. My point is, it doesn't matter what you're a candidate for, right? It matters what outcome do you want, because you're probably a candidate for a lot of different things. Right? We could easily put you in a treatment that clinically you're a candidate for it, but if it gives you an outcome you're not happy with, what's the point? So let's talk about the outcome that you want. And then after we see the doctor, we're going to know if you're a candidate for the treatment to give you that particular outcome. You want them to connect those dots in the first 10. That's the most important thing, because they can't see the treatment as what it is that they're purchasing. They have to see the treatment as the pathway to get what it is that they're purchasing. Does that make sense? And you have to tell them, listen, there is not 2 treatments that have the same outcome. It doesn't exist. Otherwise, we wouldn't have 2 treatments. So every single treatment is going to give you a different outcome. There's pros and cons to all of them. So let's identify what the exact outcome that you want is. Then we'll know, hey, to go from here, your current state, to here, the desired state, this is a treatment plan that's going to get you there the fastest and in the most efficient manner possible. Right here. This is how we're going to do it. Make sense? And then you move on. I want you guys to really focus on making that point. Because sometimes we go through the first 10, we go through the second 10. It's kind of a conversation. But I can see with the videos that they didn't necessarily connect the dots there, that they're a candidate for a lot of different things, and that's irrelevant, right? That's why I don't like to present 2, 3, 4 different options to patients, because it's irrelevant, because you don't have 4 options that are going to get the same outcome, right? So if they're a candidate for all these different implant procedures, the question is, what outcome do they want? And we treatment plan them for that. Right? If they want a 10 out of 10 in terms of function, 10 out of 10 in terms of aesthetics, and 10 out of 10 in terms of low maintenance and longevity, why would we talk about a removable? Why? Yeah, they're a candidate, but that doesn't get them what they want. Why waste time talking about something that the patient doesn't want? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter clinically, they're a candidate for it. Okay? Make sure that you guys connect those dots, really kind of work on that thought process with the patient.
Low maintenance, you don't want to be going in all the time. Okay. So that's, well, the good news is you have come to the right place. Dr. Kamel does more full arch, full mouth implant treatments than anybody in the Midwest. We actually have 2 full mouth surgeries every single day. So that means 2 things. One, you're going to get the best surgical prosthetic skills, but also because we do it so much, we get large savings from implant companies, all of that. So we pass that on to patients. So you're going to get the best pricing. So, I mean, people come in here with, all sorts of treatment plans, and we always feed it with more services and everything. So we'll talk more about that. So sounds like you've probably already done some research on maybe implants and all of that. I'm just going to give you like a super cursory overview of what we offer here, just so you kind of have a context of things, and then we'll talk more about that. So in dentistry, there's really only 2 ways that you can fix things, okay? There's removable solutions, which you both have already tried with the partials and all of that, or fixed solutions, things that don't come in and out of the mouth. Okay. So with regard to what we offer from a removable standpoint, there's really only 2 implant solutions. Well, one for removable. There's dentures on the removable side that I'm just gonna let you know, guys, right now, I'm in the process of just altering the first 10 script. It's gonna be in the new videos that's coming out on the learning portal, but I think it's going to be better for the first 10 if we just completely remove that patient education part where we're going through and talking about dentures, removable and fixed, because it's just getting people in hot water. Because at the end of the day, right, in the first 10, the most important thing for us to know is where they are and where they want to be, right? And then the patient needs to know that they're going to have options based on what they're a candidate for, but we're going to treatment plan them based on where they want to be. Once we start going through the treatments, what I'm noticing is that we're switching their brain from the outcome back to the treatments. And that's the whole purpose of the first 10, is to get them out of that. The reason why I put it in there originally is to fish for price objections, right? Because I want them to say, well, how much is this and how much is that? So that we can pre-qualify and triage them. That was the only purpose. But I think what it's been doing is it's been hurting a little bit, because I feel like the patient's mindset is starting to switch. Like, you have it great. She's got them great, right? They're focused on the problem and the outcome, They shouldn't be worried about the treatment. The treatment's our responsibility, not theirs. Once we start going through the treatment, they start looking at the treatments, asking questions about treatments, thinking about price about the treatments. And now all of a sudden, they've got other things in their head that aren't necessarily important, right? So I'm going to be taking out the patient education portion, because I think there's a lot of that we can go through in the second 10, but ideally we want to keep it as simple as possible. These people, they already have removables. Why discuss it? They don't like it. If they didn't like it, they wouldn't be here. So why go through it?
that make sense? They don't want a partial. They don't want to snap in and snap out. That's not why they're there. And if they opt for it, do you know why they're going to opt for it when we go through it? Money. That's the only reason why they would opt for it. Because everything that they're saying is suggesting that they are certainly candidates and they want something that's going to be a fixed solution. Now, if budget and money becomes a concern, then we can triage that and address it. But at the end of the day, your job, you have done your job. If you are in rapport, you know where they are, you build the urgency and you know where they want to be. And that patient knows that it's the doctor's job to tell them how to get from point A to point B with a treatment, then you've done your job. You've absolutely done your job. The next job is just to prepare the doctor and prepare the doctor with that one pager, right, that you fill out after the first 10. If all that is done, you're going to be in great shape. This is getting people in a little hot water. I'm going to take it out because I don't think it's necessary.
Don't do it for the reasons that we talked about.
You'll see what I'm talking about here.
Everybody hates them. The first set is the best, and then you're constantly with tons of maintenance. So we don't even do traditional dentures. We do offer a removable overdenture. So that's secured on 4 implants usually, and you can take it in and out. It looks nice. You can chew more than you would with regular dentures. It's made out of acrylic, so you're going to have more maintenance and have to remake the teeth more often. But it's an option, and it's a world of difference from traditional dentures. Okay, so it's a definite step up from there. Okay, so that's a removable. We have a lot of patients that have those and really enjoy them.
Good.
Or you have a fixed solution, which kind of sounds to me like the area that you guys are talking about. It is the most lifelike, most natural, closest thing we have to really functional, beautiful teeth. We use a series of implants where we place 6 on the lower, 6 on the upper, usually. Most places are only going to do 4 implants. We always do a minimum of 6 if we can. Sometimes patients don't have the bone for that, but usually if we can do it, we're going to give you more. We don't charge by the implant. We have a package solution for patients.
Sure.
We want you to have a better solution, so we do it the right way. We have a couple different ways to build on those implants that we do. We have basically just different types of teeth. So it's sort of like good, better, best option of things. So the removable snap-on is like good. We have PMMA teeth, and then we have zirconia teeth. Okay, and you can get them in different colors. This one has a more natural tinted color, versus like bleach white or something. So don't. So people are like, do they have to come in there? I said, no. You can have it's just a material. Just focus on material. So zirconia is the top of the line. That's the longest lasting, most durable, aesthetic, beautiful, functional solution that you can do. Zirconia is the hardest substance that we have in dentistry. So chip resistant, stain resistant, looks and feels most like natural teeth. PMMA is a really nice, beautiful aesthetics as well, but it's a lighter weight material. It's more porous, so it's going to have over time more staining and wearing. Okay, you have more maintenance with this, and we have options for that, or you can kind of have a one and done essentially. So, and we have patients that do all kinds of, this is where it comes down to, the treatment you want, treatment you need, and what you can afford. So we have options for all of those. Just before getting into anything and having Dr. Mike come in, any preferences, any initial thoughts on, what you're thinking? Removable, fixed?
Well, I think you said cost.
Yeah.
Because we got 2 sets that were kind of.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got two people that get.
The cost comes in there, so
Yeah.
I'm open to having the 4
Yeah,
removable.
yeah,
Because that's a whole lot better where I am, and it's a whole lot better, it's like you said, steps.
absolutely.
So the denture is just as the denture.
Yeah, yeah.
It's sort of sliding around all the time,
Absolutely.
So I'd be open to the 4 brown denture.
You see what happened right there? So we go through them. She did an amazing job, right? On that whole patient education section was great. When you ask the patient, so you have an idea like what you're thinking. Again, we're gonna try to completely eliminate language like that because I don't want the patient to think about it. I want to tell the patient what to do, right? Based on where they are and where they want to be. I'll tell them what to do, right? We'll create the treatment plan for you. You don't have to think, you don't have to make up your mind. You don't have to do any of that, right? Now, we bring this up and all of a sudden, he completely forgets about everything that he just said about the outcome that he wants. He had a partial, he doesn't like it, right? His biggest thing, he wants to be able to eat a ribeye. His function was his number one thing, right? So having teeth that are solid, that he can bite, chew, speak, and it feels as close to natural healthy teeth as possible. That's screaming fixed, fixed, fixed. The second you start bringing it up, right? We start going features and benefits, all of a sudden, the zirconia, it sounds expensive to him. It just sounds expensive. Now, he doesn't know what the price is yet. Doesn't know what the price of any of them yet. But he's already saying, well, since we got to get two, right, I'm open to a removable because it's better than where I am, right? And yeah, it is. But now we know price. We know price is a concern. He's just told us that, right? So what do we want to do now that we know price is a concern? We want to what? We want to figure out what number is in their head, right? If we can. We want to try to qualify now. That's the whole point of this. You're bringing up the treatments. We're doing this not to really educate the patient. We're doing it to fish for exactly what we just got, right? So that we don't go into the second 10, we don't go into the third 10 with a treatment plan for $55,000 for each of them, right? When their budget total is 40 or 50, right? So let's see what happens next. But again, you can see once you start getting into the treatments, their brain is going to immediately switch to money. Immediately. And then we have to kind of recreate it back in the second 10. That's why we're going to eliminate the patient education portion of this moving forward. It works really well to get price objections, but I think the collateral damage of switching their focus after we've done all that hard work, I think it's too high. I think at the end of the day, if price is their number one concern, they'll tell you even without this. That's what I'm noticing.
But when you move into the next tier, then you don't have as much maintenance either. So
You don't, yeah,
and appearance wise, probably a little bit better.
yeah,
And of course, you get to the top tier, which is always going to be more expensive.
yeah,
But you're not in and out of here all the time.
absolutely.
To have something
And
done.
the good news is you'll actually, we have buildable solutions. So like if you say, you know what, I'm going to start with the PMMA this infrastructure is still the same. So you're still getting the 6 implants, we're holding the bone, you've got
Oh, so it's just
iodization, all that
teeth
stuff.
at that point, because the
Exactly,
implants will
exactly.
still be workable.
Exactly. And you can wear those for a bit and then upgrade, or you can start out immediately. So we'll go through that. We'll kind of talk through things,
Sure.
okay? What do you think?
I was thinking the same thing as him.
Okay.
It's a removable,
Yeah,
for now.
But they're not thinking removable. They're thinking money. Does that make sense, guys? They're not thinking removable. They don't want removable because they want removable. They don't want removable because of the outcome it's going to give them. They want removable because they think that's the cheapest solution that's going to be better than what they have with the partial and the denture. That's it. It's 100% about money. So if it's 100% about money, what's the question that needs to be asked? Right? It sounds like maybe you have a dollar in your head that you're trying to stay within. Sounds like you guys have done some research and you've done some planning already, right? Give me an idea. What are you trying to stay within in terms of a budget, or at least a dollar that you don't want to go over? And qualify them. Go ahead and qualify them right here. You know what I mean? I would love to see that, because if they're telling you, hey, it's money, 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 and whenever anybody comes in and they elect and they tell you, I want implant supported dentures, 100% of the time, it's because it's money. Nobody ever wants that instead of fixed. They just don't. You know what I mean? 100% of the time, they're telling you that they want the cheapest solution to eliminate the current pain point that they're experiencing. So that is a money objection. So you want to know where they are and what they're thinking before the second 10, so you can obviously let the doctor know. So, yes, ma'am.
It's Becky. I have a quick question on that, because, and I have kind of switched this up since then, where I'm giving kind of a cursory education on it. I'm not going into, super detailed. It's basically just for me to get a sense of removable or fixed. So then that's when I do the, any strong feelings, removable or fixed, and then I can kind of get a sense, because a lot of people aren't a candidate for removable as well. So, but I do have a question on, and that's, I do struggle with this too, even jumping into, so it sounds like you kind of have a budget in mind. Why don't you just,
Hold on, Becky,
sharing with me, is there something?
real quick, Becky, let me just address that real quick, because asking them, hey, what are you thinking one way or another, like removable or fixed? That is the way that we fish for a financial objection, because at the end of the day, the reality is, based on the clinical outcome they want, I already know, right? Like that's what tells me. If I am trying to triage, right, or I think finances is a problem, that's where you get into like, have you decided fixed or removable, or you start going through treatments because we're fishing, because we don't necessarily think that they're going to be financially qualified. We're not going to bring that up. But at the end of the day, based on the outcome they want, they've already self-selected, because if they select a 10 out of 10 in function, aesthetics, and maintenance, removable's out anyways. Who cares? Like now, if they say they want removable, they're just completely contradicting the clinical outcome, and we have to reconcile those two things. So we don't need to ask the question to figure out what they're a candidate for. That's what the future state and the vision is for.
So so when we get to that conversation about, do you have something in mind? I know we have a lot of people obviously that are second opinions. They're coming in, they've already been a clear choice. They know it's 50, 60, 75. I have other people though, that honestly, like these two, that haven't been anywhere else except their hometown dentist that's patchworking, everything like that. I don't know that, we've tried to build some of the value, but I don't think they even have a frame of reference. So, I mean, obviously I know when you talk about it, like, do you have a number you want to stay in mind? You want to, are you thinking 10, 20, 30 per arch? Like, what are you thinking? So what I found when I asked that question is a lot of people are like, well, I mean, I don't really know, and so that's the only hard part, is then that gets derailed. And then I haven't had the time with Dr. Mike to come in to kind of build that value, if that makes sense. And so sometimes just getting into that, obviously I get the triaging thing. It's just, sometimes it's a challenge for me, because I'm like, because I've had that where I have people where, I think, nope, this money's no problem, and it's a problem. I have people that money seems like it's a problem and it's not a problem. And so I struggle with not building the value and having him meet Dr. Mike and kind of talk about things and showing them, again, like the infection and all that stuff when we pull the CBCT scan up. So how do you reconcile that, right away when somebody tells you? Are you just kind of putting that as a reference? I don't want to invite, I know you're awesome at it, but like getting into the minutia of, hey, this solution, well, this one costs this and this one costs that, because I don't know that I've even built the value yet. And I don't know if they're like a zygo, if they're quadrygos. How do you deal with that?
I think that's the point of altering the patient education portion of the script right here, because based on how this first 10 went, us even bringing up implant supported dentures puts us in a bad spot, right? Because we are now talking about something that disagrees with the clinical outcome that they said they want. And we started off the call by saying, hey, my job is to figure out where you are and where you want to be, and we're going to create a treatment plan to get you there. So if the treatment plan doesn't get us there, why are we talking about it, right? Because if the patient has to assume, if we're talking about it, that it's going to get them what they want, because they just told us what they want. And I think that's where the main confusion comes from. And that's why they go, hey, I'll elect this one, because obviously it's a good outcome. You told me that you have a lot of patients that have opted for this outcome and they've really liked it. And clearly that's going to be less. And we already know there's going to be a lot, because there's two of us, and they're just doing, they're walking through it in their mind, right, with you. But the point is, it doesn't matter about the implant supported dentures, because it's not going to get them what they want. So for me, in this situation, right, in most situations, I think if you get, because it was picture perfect, Becky, it was picture perfect, right? And now we've got a situation where like, hey, I'm going to opt for this. But now we have to kind of go back and say, well, listen, based on everything that you told me that you wanted, implant supported dentures, you said function's your number one thing, right? Implant supported dentures, right? The removable, well, that's not going to give you the function that you want for the ribeye, not at anywhere near the level of fixed teeth. right? And if that's true, why did we bring it up?
Right.
And that's because when we created the script, we were just so concerned with triaging and trying to get any kind of financial objection out of the patient in the first 10, so that if they're not financially qualified, they didn't get to the doctor and we didn't waste a bunch of time. But based on where it's going, I think it's creating a situation that becomes a little bit more difficult for you guys, because you do such a great job of focusing on the outcome. Then once they're on the outcome, now we go to the treatments, almost like, here's our options, you pick, what do you think? And that just disagrees with the entire premise of that, solving that equation. That middle part of the equation is for us to decide, not for the patient to decide. You give me, right, X and Z, and I give you Y. And then if there's a problem financially with Y, well, we can roll it back at that point to financing, or we can roll it back to changing the type of teeth, or we can roll it back to removable. But we need to start here, and we have to have an equation that is proved, if that makes sense. So you didn't do anything wrong. And in that situation, the only thing you can do, right, because now you don't have a financial objection because you don't know what they're thinking. But I would just say, hey, it sounds like you guys have already done a little bit of research and you might already know some of the pricing here. But give me an idea, maybe you don't have a budget that you're looking to stay within, but maybe you have a number that you would like to not exceed, right? Between the two of you, is there a number you would like to not exceed? Like, for instance, hey, I would like to not exceed 50,000 or 40,000 or 30,000, or just kind of give me an idea in terms of what you're thinking. And I would just throw out those big numbers, 50, 40, 30, and just look at them, right? And just gauge their initial knee-jerk response. Because when you're in a really good rapport, you don't even need an answer. You just need to throw out an option, especially big numbers, and you just see how they respond to it. And you're going to know if you're close or not. And then, you kind of get into it from there. But with these guys and with most of them, like I said, I'm going to completely take out the patient education part of it, because why go, again, it's a straight line. Why go through implant supported dentures if the patient themselves has ruled that out as far as an option? Why mess with it? Why talk about dentures? Why? And if we start talking about the treatment in the first 10, we're inevitably going to get into a situation about cost, and we don't want to steal that thunder from the doctor. I want the doctor to go, hey, I spoke with Becky. I know where you are. I know where you want to be. Boom, boom, boom. They get in a rapport and go, you know what? Based on everything that I'm seeing, I think you're a perfect candidate for this. I know exactly how I would address this treatment to get you everything that you want. Let's go through it. Here's how I would do it. Boom, 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 boom. It's one recommendation. It's one treatment, and let the financial objection come out at that point if it's going to come. And if it comes out at that point, we'll handle it right there with the doctor. Straight up, and you handle it the same exact way, but the whole point is, I don't want the patient to dictate their treatment, number one. And number two, it doesn't matter what treatment they want because they don't know anything, right? Who cares what they want? If I ask them what they want, their brain's going to immediately switch to price. And now I got to go through and do all that work again to switch them back to the outcome. They can't look at the treatment as what they're paying for. They have to look at the outcome. And what just happened here in this particular call, the way it's presented, the patient told you the outcome they wanted. You told them there's 3 different ways to do it: good, better, best. They automatically connect the dots that good, better, best all gets them the outcome. And the difference, although there's a difference, the difference is small. That's what he's saying. Like, yeah, you're going to have better when you have the top one is going to be a little bit better, but we'll start here. So he's saying, like, that's going to get me, the majority of the way to where I want to be, which isn't necessarily true. You guys have anybody else have any questions on that? Let's see. Someone said money is dictating treatment in most cases. It shouldn't. Money should not dictate treatment. It shouldn't. The only thing dictates treatment is where they are right now, what they're a candidate for clinically, and what they want. That dictates treatment. If there's a money, that dictates your recommendation, guys. That's your recommendation. If there's a financial objection, right, or an obstacle that we can't overcome with financing, then we can change the treatment only after we change the expectation for the outcome. That's it. Like, it doesn't matter to me what the treatment is or how much money it is. What matters is that the treatment matches the outcome that I'm selling. And I'm always selling the outcome. So if I'm selling the outcome, the patient's like, yeah, hey, I want this, this, and this. Here's the treatment's going to get you that. Oh, I can't afford it. Okay, what can you afford? I can do something like this, this, and this. Okay, I have to reframe the outcome. Right? You've got to reframe the outcome. Otherwise, they're not going to hear you, and you're going to have a patient that's a problem. You're going to have one of those situations where you bend over backwards for the patient, and you do everything that you can do to make this thing overly affordable for them. And then they're going to come in and they're going to complain about the midline. They're still going to expect the best of the best of the best, even though they told you they couldn't afford the best. You had to break it. You had to move them down to an implant supported denture, and they're expecting the implant supported denture to be zirconia. That's what they're going to do, right? They're not going to hear you. So you have to make sure you're very careful, right, about saying it doesn't matter to me. What the treatment is, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, there's a lot of treatments that are going to move you in the right direction, but every single treatment has a different outcome with a different price. So you go from here to here, it's not just a difference in the price, there is a material difference in the clinical outcome and the quality of life you're going to experience. So it's important for you to know this first, then I'll back it down and also know that all of these are moving you in the right direction. And just because we can't get to the outcome that you want immediately doesn't mean we can't get there. Some people get there in a week, some people get there in 6 months, some people get there in a year, some people 2 or 3 years. But you're not going to sit in the same situation and continue to suffer. So we're going to move you ahead down the line, and financing is important. You know what I mean? But you have to always go back to sell the outcome. Otherwise, you have an equation that's like, hey, 5 + 5 = 15. Right? Because they still have the clinical outcome in their head that they told you in the first 10. But we changed that treatment plan that was a 10. We changed it to a 5 because of money. Now it's 5 + 5 = 15. And that doesn't work. So if you change the treatment, if you change the price materially enough to where it changes the treatment, you have to go back and change the outcome so that they clearly understand that that treatment is going to get them this outcome. Does that make sense, guys? This is the most important part about this whole thing is do not fall into a trap of selling the treatments and selling features and benefits. Okay, so I'm literally doing videos every day, brand new videos, updating all of the training on the online training. If you guys haven't been in there, there's a bunch of new videos for you to get you guys certified on different levels. I'm going to update the script, and I'm going to remove the patient education to make this a little bit more simple and give you guys a little bit more time. Becky still got through the whole thing in just under 20 minutes with both of them, which is right on time. But as you can see, she spent probably 6 minutes just on the patient education side. Whereas she could have pre-sold the doctor a little bit more. She could have created the vision and connected those dots a little bit better. But I can tell that, Becky, you're really, really good and very, very aware of the time clock in your head, from moving from one point to the next. So you still got it done within the 20 minutes for both of these patients, which was really, really good. I hope that you guys can take a look. And the main things to really understand here is I want you to focus on being dynamic with the patients and understand how to get them going. And when the patient's going in the right direction and they're giving you useful information, how to provide supporting comments to allow them to further elaborate. And that's what creates urgency. It's their words, not yours. You can see the patients were speaking 70% of the time. Becky was speaking 30% of the time. It was all really, really good. Frankly, none of this money part right here, Becky, was your fault. It's where the script took you. It's where the script was designed. And, you know, I'm going to make some adjustments to make it a little bit more simple so we don't get into hot water. If money is their number one concern, they're going to bring it up no matter what. And if they don't bring it up in the first 10, they're certainly going to bring it up in the second 10 when we make our primary recommendation. And it doesn't matter if they bring it up in the first and second 10, because you're going to be doing it efficiently. It's like for real 10 minutes. It's not like we're spending 30 minutes and then 30 minutes and then 30 minutes here. Makes sense? Anybody have any questions? Awesome. Well, Becky, you did an amazing job. Thank you for that video. Awesome job. And I don't have any questions in the chat. So guys, if you do have any questions about it, let me know. If not, go close somebody. Go make some money. All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, guys.
Question, I have a question.
Oh, you do?
I do. How do I get to your portal for all of your scripts?
I'll have Brenda contact you. What office is it?
Advanced Implant Centers.
Advanced Implant Centers. Okay. Main thing is to have your onboarding call. If we haven't got you all on for the onboarding call yet, are you brand new?
Not really, but no, yeah, I am, but not this office, no, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, you need to have an onboarding call. So Brenda will reach out to you. She's sitting right next to me.
Okay,
I'll have her call you right after this.
okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, guys. I'll catch y'all later if there's no more questions.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.